Hey Matt, I know you got two boats. Basically, have a small boat or a river boat, and then you've got the what we call the big boat. So how do you got your big boat rig? Let's start on the starboard side over there, where you got 3 rod holders. And
Okay.
tell us about that.
Yeah. I try to keep everything nice and clean and simple. This is exactly how I have my small boat laid out, and I've been using it for so long. When I rigged this boat, I rigged it identical. I have longer tracks on the other boat because it's a little bit longer, but I've just got I've got an 18-inch track and a 1-foot track. I wanted to have a little longer one, but needed room to get the rod holders off. I've got the Cannon rod holders, one-hand use, all the way around. Very, very handy. Been using those for a long time. They seem to work really well for me. It's September now. I know we're talking about June, July, and August, but since it's September, this is the spread that I use. The rods that I have out here right now, pretty much all I've been using. I'm not really going to go into the cabin and grab any more rods. What I've got here is what you need. I've been running one flash or fly rod on my center rigger, meat or flash or fly depending on what you need, and then I run 2 spoons. Spoon rigger on each out and down. I'm running spoons. This happens to be a mag salmon candy, a little bit of a natural color. Seems to have been working pretty well for me. And then on my other rigger, I've got a standard size salmon candy. Sometimes they want the big one, sometimes they want the small one. So those are my riggers. And then I've got a 400 steel I'll put out on a board. I got a 400 steel. This one's fishing probably about 80 feet down. It doesn't go as deep as copper, but I feel if the fish is at 90, it can still see it at 80 versus 88 with copper. So 400 steel. These are my dual divers. I got the rigger set up and I run dual divers. I'm a fan of dual divers. I've got my black inside diver, which I run flasher flies and meat on, and my high divers. When I first started out, I ran black divers on both. Switched to green many years ago. I've always stuck to green for my high diver. Doesn't seem to make too much difference, but at least I know my inside from my outside. No confusion there. And what I'm running on one side, I copy on the other side. So the other side will run the same thing. I've got a 300 steel on the other side that I'll put out on an inline board. And I've got my other 2 divers. Same colors, black for my inside and green for the outside.
And what do you do with your riggers during the summer? You got 3 riggers on the back of the boat, 3 Cannon riggers.
Yep.
So let's talk a second about your center rigger. Is that your high rigger or is that your low rigger? Some guys like it high, especially on the east end. Some guys like their center rigger to be their deep set.
Rigger is always my probe rigger. And I try to keep my probe rigger as my deepest line so that I know where the bottom of my temperature zone is. If I'm looking for 46 to set up, I set this rigger at 46 and then I'll set my other lines up higher. Typically I go over here as my next set, so deep rigger in the middle, my starboard out and down will be my middle rigger, and then my port out and down will be my high rigger.